Hey guys, welcome back to Making Everyday Magic. My name is Shanna. If you are new here, we are a homeschooling family of 4 who is well into their 5th year of homeschooling. I am not saying I'm an expert, I'm just saying we've been doing this a while. Today, I want to talk with you, I want to share with you my top 10 field trip ideas for homeschool. Guys, before we go any further, please scroll down, hit the big red subscribe button, turn on the bell for notifications, and give this video a thumbs up. As always, you can find me down in the comment sections here on these videos or over on Instagram at Making Everyday Magic. If you do follow us over there, you might be able to tag along with some of these fun homeschool field trips. Guys, this is not at all the video that I intended to share with you. We have actually just attended a homeschool day at Space Center Houston. It was amazing. It was wonderful. And thankfully they do more than one, because somewhere in getting the photos from one place to another place, I deleted them all. So one day soon, after the next homeschool day at the Space Center of Houston, I will be back and sharing with you what that looks like, just like a little field trip vlog, because it's super fun. And again, that's what I intended. But obviously it is not what was meant to be shared with you today. So instead, today, why don't we talk about my top 10 homeschool field trip ideas. Now, some of these, of course, you're gonna be like, duh, Shauna, absolutely, I already knew that. But some of them, you might be like, oh, hey girl, that's a great idea. Now, many of you, as we all know, have come to homeschooling under kind of duress, under these weird circumstances of these weird times, which being in lockdown, not being able to get out is a great time to start homeschooling because you're not worried about getting out, you're not getting distracted. But now, guys, it's important to know things are coming back, things are reopening, and you can get your little bitty homeschoolers and get them out into the world. Field trips, doing things during the school day, during the school year, the best time to do some things. It's cheaper, it's more fun. There's some really special events that get planned and coordinated for homeschoolers. So I am telling you, it is time. Throw open the doors, run away from the desk, and get out back into the world and enjoy quite possibly one of the sweetest perks of being a homeschooler, which is homeschool field trips. Now, you may be thinking, why on gosh green earth does my homeschool need field trips? Guys, there is a reason that even public schools who put maybe not enough effort into some things, even they would go through the logistics, the pain in the hiney, the arranging transportation, the liability of taking 30 kids in the big yellow can down the highway to go do things. The reason they would do it is because the benefits of doing some of these things is so huge. It's so educational. It's so great to get out and do that even public schools think it's worth doing. So that right there should tell you that you can absolutely get a ton of stuff out of field trips. So I'm gonna talk about each one of these. These are not in any particular order. This is just the order I thought about them and wrote them down, so I'm gonna give them to you right now. So let's start with number 1. Getting out into nature. Now I'm talking arboretums, botanical gardens, parks, camping, state parks. You can go to any of these places and get some amazing resources. We ourselves have gone to the Houston Arboretum several times just to have a great day outside, because you can learn so much more just to enjoy nature outside, because it puts everybody into a different mood. But we also went out specifically a couple of times because they brought in goats to mow the grounds of the Arboretum, because it is more environmentally friendly to do so. It gives the goats something to do. And so we had so many conversations about biodiversity and the way that animals can help plant life and plants can help animal life. Like, anything can be a jumping off point here. We love the botanic gardens. We like to get out and enjoy them. We've done Houston, Dallas, Denver has a great botanic garden if you could ever get the chance to go there. But anything like that. State parks have some amazing programs. We just went to Lake Corpus Christi State Park, and my girls were able to become junior rangers, and like they had to answer all kinds of questions, and they had a bird viewing area, and we learned all kinds of fun facts about birds. Like, you can turn anything into educational, but also it's really fun to get out and do it in nature. To explore the world around us is a really fun way to do that. Okay, number 2 is museums. I don't even care what kind, guys. There's specialty museums like art museums. We have a natural history museum, history museums, children's museums. Wait, there's Museum of a Bicycle. Here in Houston, we have like the not like Undertaker Museum. So it's like all things funeral museum. I don't remember the name of it, but basically all things like death and end of life-ish, but super cool. There's a bicycle museum, there's a firehouse museum, there's an art car museum. I don't even care. If it has museum in the name, it counts automatically educational, automatically. It's like the definition or something. Number three on my list is Science and Technical Center. So like here, like I just said, we love the Houston Space Center. Space Center Houston, which is out on the campus of Johnson Space Center. And guys, if you have ever wondered if there was anything, one of the pictures I deleted, I was gonna share with y'all, I'm so sad. If there's anything ever, like in your brain, if you're not from here and you think of Texas, right? You automatically get those stereotypes. We know like horse, okay, oil, all right. But if there's anything that has ever epitomized that more than the Johnson Space Center Houston campus, it does not exist. Because like in one shot, you can get a picture of the space shuttle, and in the foreground is Longhorns, because they actually have a partnership with, I think it's Rice University and the Houston Rodeo for studying longhorns. And so they allow longhorns out on the ground. So it's a longhorn and a space shuttle all on property that was originally owned by an oil company. So like legit, the most Texas Houston thing that ever did happen is Johnson Space Center Houston campus. Like, I mean, like rockets going to space. Houston, we have a problem. That problem is not a longhorn shortage, because they got that, okay? They got the longhorns. Number 4 is zoos. Zoos are so fun. I love zoos. I know that there are a few people who I think have like a moral issue with zoos. I personally don't. I feel like they're helping all kinds of things all over the places, and so many more zoos are really getting to the point where, you know, the animals are not in tiny enclosures anymore. They're in real like habitat areas. It's super amazing, super fun. I love a zoo. I will go anywhere to go to a zoo. I love, love, love zoos. We are at our zoo at least once a month. Like, I love zoos. You can learn so much at zoo. The keeper chats, just walking around, observing different animal types. Zoos have all kinds of amazing programs that you can do, scavenger hunts, super fun things. I love the zoo. Gosh, I love the zoo. Number 5, something you may not have thought about, take your kids to the theater. Now, you could take them to watch a documentary. I know our art museum has some really amazing documentaries. I know our History Museum has some amazing videos that you can watch. Moody Gardens has some amazing videos that you can watch, but also to the actual theater. I know that the Hobby Center here near us, they will have homeschool performances or school day performances that homeschoolers can get discounted tickets to during the school day. So taking your children to a theater does teach them many, many things. 1, arts, right? Just immerse yourself in the arts. 2, how to behave in public. 3, let's all dress up and get fancy and be appropriate etiquette for the day. Theater. Get your children to the theater. Let them see a play. So many plays are period pieces. You can factor history into that. We just took our kids to Ford's Theater. It was amazing. And I know that they retained a lot of the information from those tours. Number 6 on my list of top 10 homeschool field trip ideas is factories. You can tour so many factories that it is kind of crazy. Lots of places will allow you in. I am in Texas. Again, guys, you can go tour Bluebell, you can go tour Shine a Beer, and you can go tour Dr. Pepper. So if you need anything besides that, I mean, that's all you need. That's it, really, right? That's it. But get your kids out, let them go see that manufacturing process. It's even something as simple as we've been to La King's Confectionery down in Galveston and watched the taffy pulling machine. And so we're able to talk about how the introduction of air stretches and makes it more elastic. These things are fun. These things are educational. And these things are really experiences that are going to stick with your kids and with you. If you can do some of these things in your homeschool, it's going to be amazing. Okay, number 7, historic areas. I don't even care what they are. We have tons of historical markers here in Texas. We're also in an area that's really great. We can get to the Alamo very easily, Spanish missions, which is something we're discussing and talking about in our Texas history. But there are tons of historic areas. You know, Gettysburg, battlefields, all kinds of things like that. Or there are a lot of places in Texas and Oklahoma where you can go and see where Native American tribes lived, or Washington on the Brazos, where some of our government was formed. It's So awesome to be able to take your kids and to go to some of these historic areas. Historic areas can be really valuable. I remember when I was little in 6th grade, we actually took a walking field, not 6th grade, I was 6 in 1st grade. We actually took a walking field trip to a local cemetery because some of the headstones in the cemetery dated back over 100 years. We were able to go there and create rubbings. And so then we were able to pick out names and then go back and research them. Cemeteries can provide huge clues to the history of an area. We're very near to Galveston, which holds the record for the largest life lost, like commerce lost hurricane in history, the 1900 storm. And we can actually go to those cemeteries from where those people had been buried and see the historic homes and see the cemetery plots. And it gives you a great insight into the history of Galveston. There's also a cemetery here in Houston that has, very famous people buried there. Howard Hughes, just to name one. So it can be really fun to actually go and explore cemeteries. I'm also not opposed to kind of taking some of the spook out of a cemetery for your kids and treating them kind of as they are. They are factually a place to understand history. Number 8, farms. We are in the fall season, and I don't know where you live, but where we live, that means those pumpkin patches have opened up. Okay, so everybody's out, we're picking pumpkins, we're loving the whole thing, but guess what? We do it again in the spring. We go berry picking, flower picking. We love farms. Farms have tons of animals. The ones here always have like little rides and fun things like that, but being able to get your kids out and go to a farm is another, it falls under nature, of course, but a farm, actually showing them the workings of how a farm works is super fun, super entertaining, and it allows them to really process like where your food comes from, making those connections that the apple that you pick at the grocery store came from a tree in an orchard. So any of that can be truly, truly valuable to your kids' learning, just life learning. Now, something that you may not have thought about is public service. I remember, again, in elementary school, I must have had like the coolest elementary school guys, but we took a field trip to the water treatment plant. Lots of public services are more than willing to open up and let you come in and see how they look. Hoover Dam, for example, would be a great one. But I remember going to the water treatment facility and learning how sewage came in, how that water was treated and then sent back out. These things are so interesting, and you can do police stations, you can do jails, you can do fire departments, EMS, local hospitals. You can go and take your kids to court. Take them to a courthouse and teach them the way that our justice system works. All of this is invaluable. Now, my number 10, and you may not have thought about this, but maybe you have, is theme parks and amusement parks. Why? Because it is a massive study in physics, if nothing else. Things that can be fun can still teach. If you haven't learned that by now, homeschoolers, listen to that. If this is the one thing that you take from this entire video, fun learning is gonna stick a lot longer than boring learning, guys. Fun learning. So we ourselves have a trip coming up to Disney, and one of the things that we love to do is we love to walk our kids around the World Showcase in Epcot. They truly do retain the information about the different cultures that they pick up. It is genuinely fun. Epcot also has a ride called Living with the Land, where it's all about farming practices and sustainability. My kids love that. I love that. I learn things every single time I go. We learn something new as a family. Don't discount theme parks and amusement parks. I'm not saying you should spend every day at Disney, because that's not how a lot of homeschooling gets done, but I'm just saying, it's not all bad. It's not all bad. You could justify this homeschool expense, right? Guys, I hope that you found any of this helpful, entertaining, or informative. If you did, please scroll down, hit the big red subscribe button, turn on the bell for notifications, and give this video a thumbs up. If you have stayed through to the end, I'm going to give you a bonus. Libraries. Now, regular library down the street, they always have tons of amazing programs. Of course, a lot of resources because they're a stinking library, but something I have done with my girls here in Texas, they have been to every presidential library in Texas, and there are 3. 3? Yeah, there are 3 presidential libraries here in Texas. You can get a passport for the presidential libraries and they will stamp them. My girls have been beside themselves excited at every presidential library we've been to. And you wouldn't think these things would be entertaining, but I have got to say, George H.W. Bush's library, hands down, one of the funnest places that my kids have been. Like, There's so much to do. It's so interactive. They have like games, and almost all of them has like a replica of the Oval Office when they were there, and you can like take their pictures so they look like the president. It's amazing. But presidential libraries, do not ever think, guys, we drag our kids everywhere. My kids have been to the Louvre. My kids go to art museums all the time. Do not get discouraged to take your kids places because you think it's not a place for kids. Everywhere. Well, you know, everywhere that's not inappropriately rated. Everywhere is a place for kids, and if you take them, they will learn. Everywhere. I take my kids to art museums. They understand the behavior. We take our kids, when we go to the zoo, they understand how to touch the animals appropriately with 2 fingers. We take our kids everywhere, and it's a lot of places that you don't think that kids should go. A lot of people get turned off from taking their kids because it's hard or it's not easy. If you get them and they're young, train them. Talk about your expectations before you go into a place. Make sure they fully understand what is expected of them and what is expected of you, and then give them very clear and concise consequences if they cannot keep up with that. But you also need to be prepared to bail. I don't care how much you paid. If it's going south, get out of there before they break something priceless, okay? True story, true story. But I want you to know, people love seeing kids in places. Every time we've gone to, for example, a presidential library, people interact with them so well because the most of what you see is not even people my age, it's like my grandparents' age is in these places. So when the staff, when everybody gets to interact with a kid or see how a kid is enjoying the things there, and so much of it there is truly built and made for a kid. I mean, they've been through several Smithsonians. So much of it is hands-on and made for children. Don't get discouraged about taking your kids to these places, and don't think that these things aren't for them. Because guess what? They are the future. They are learning all of it. Again, appropriately rated is for them. Bye, guys.